Hello there, this is Sammy33, and this will be our second video. We're going to go a little bit farther back here, not that much. We're going to do a repeat from last year's game, the Kobe era with the Orlando Magic. Tempted to do the Jordan era, because it'd be pretty cool to face Jordan at his peak, but, well, we just didn't get through that. Maybe on next year's game we'll do it, mix it up a little bit. But we're going to go to the Kobe era. As you know, me, I'm a big Grant Hill fan. My first favorite basketball player. So he's not his peak, but he's still good enough. And we're going to run with him and the Orlando Magic. So Orlando, and let's hop in. Well, obviously the big thing about Orlando, well, before we get there, a couple changes. It used to be best of 5 in the first round, now it's best of 7. The Sonics will turn into the Thunder at some point. You got instant replay. Haven't really used that. Expanded divisions, so 4 to 6 was it the Atlantic, Central, Pacific, and Midwest, and now there's 6. Forget them off the top of my head. Think Southeast is one. I can't remember the other one. And then social media, obviously a thing. Presentation will change, commentary will change, new overlays, all that stuff, blah blah blah. Big one though is that the first round is best of 7 games. We used the 2003 draft class. If you don't know who's in that draft class, well, here you go. This is a pretty damn, arguably the best draft class of all time. Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer. I know some people push back on Bosch, but no, whatever. For sure, I mean, LeBron at worst, absolutely, even if you hate his guts, at worst, top 5 player all time. Carmelo, one of the greatest ISO scorers the game's ever seen, and Dwayne Wade at worst. I want to say 3rd best point guard of all time because Jordan and Kobe. You could make an argument for Jerry West. I personally would go with Wade as number 3. Not bad. Kirk Heinrich. Collison had a pretty solid career. Detroit, you want to redo that one? Luke Ridnour, David West, solid career. Glad he got a ring at the end. Kyle Korver, one of the greatest 3-point shooters we have seen. Keith Bogans, Matt Bonner, the Red Rocket. Not bad here. Mr. Laker. Not bad. Mo Williams. A pretty solid draft class, but obviously it is super top heavy because you have just absolute studs at the top, and you know they're going to develop as they should. So let's look at the rosters. What do we have? Well, obviously for us, we have Tracy McGrady, and hey, guess what? Tracy McGrady is basically the 2nd best player, or at least perimeter player in the league at this point. Maybe you say, instead you could say Iverson, but in terms of what he can do, he is a slightly lesser version of Kobe Bryant. Great shooter, can attack the rim, can hit free throws, and lengthy, so he can defend as well, and you get him in his peak powers. So this should be a lot of fun. He's going to shoot a lot. He's going to lead our team in, well, pretty much everything. Look at him. A+, and it comes to scoring across the board, defense an A-, athleticism A+. You just have to keep him healthy. That's all. Grant Hill, still reasonably peak powers. He's 30. You know, obviously he's had the ankle issues, but he's still a very solid player. Good playmaker. He can run the point. We'll be happy to do that, and still a solid defender. Just worried about his free throw shooting, but that's more of a me thing than anything else. Struggled with him last year. We'll see what we do. Mike Miller. So here is a fun one. Mike Miller, good 3-point shooter. Fresh out of Florida. You know, I really struggled with him last year. I think for the majority of the franchise, I was shooting under 10%. So obviously would like to do a lot better with him, especially with him coming off the bench and the fact that we don't really have a lot of guards. He's going to get time playing the 2 and the 3. We need him to be productive. Point guards, you've got Armstrong and Vaughn. DeClerc will start. Gary, 3-point shooter. Hunter, a young guy, just a young body, 7 feet tall. Sure, he'll get some play time just to help on the boards. Pat Burke, vets in Horace Grant and Sean Kemp. So it's not a bad roster. It's obviously not a great roster, but it's top heavy because we have Tracy McGrady and he is capable of going for 50 on any night. And even if we don't play well, he can keep us in games we don't deserve to be in. So we'll see what happens with that. But this is the Kobe era, and this is peak power Lakers. Look at this. Yeah, so we have to deal with those two. The best perimeter player gets to play one-on-one. The most unstoppable force the game has ever seen at center. There is no answer. So what we'll do with them, I don't know. I don't even know if we'll even get to make it to the finals. If they make it, I assume they will. But if we make it, ooh, that'd be a hell of a series. Catch a three-point shooters, Smokey Walker, Devin George, Brian Shaw, Kareem Rush. You guys know the roster. What else do we have? Sprewell and Allen Houston. Nice little tandem with the Knicks. The Kings, or the Queens, as Shaq called them, Sacramento Queens. Weber in the game. I'm sure he will make the Kings much more dangerous as opposed to last year. Stojakovic, Baby Christie, Jackson. It's a really good team. They've got nice depth too. Turkoglu coming off the bench. Utah, man, they played for a long time. Malone and Stockton, jeez, they realized they were that old by that point. Jamal Mashburn, one of my favorite players growing up. Not Grant Hill, but a favorite. Nice little roster here in New Orleans. PJ Brown, Miami Heat. Before they got Wade, Caron Butler, Eddie Jones, Travis Best, Zoe. Not a bad roster there. The Hawks, Jason Terry when he's at a little more of his peak power. Memphis. Hey, look who that guy is. He looks familiar. The Clippers, probably the best version of the Clippers. At least to me, the most likable version of the Clippers, because Elton Brand was a beast. Corey Maggette, Lamar Odom, Andre Miller. Man, the fact this team didn't make the playoffs is just... Pearson Walker. Jalen Rose. Jamal Crawford was down there too. A really nasty Milwaukee team. Allen Cassell, Michael Redd, three shooters, Kukoc, Tim Thomas. This is a underrated Milwaukee team. George Karl got him close to the finals. Man, this team, they can score. Just defending is a whole other thing. Speaking of defending, Allen Iverson and the defenders, because he was pretty much the lone scorer on this team. You added Van Horn. Nice, but let's be honest, it's Iverson and friends. What else we have? Jordan at the end. Looking forward to facing him. I'm sure he'll still get a smirk out of me here and there. Young Golden State team. This was a fun team. Jason Richardson, Agent Zero, Jameson, a younger version, Dan Pierre, Mike Dunleavy. They could score. Scottie Pippen at the end. Derek Anderson, the Kobe stopper, Bonzi Wells, Zach Randolph. Man, this was a pretty solid team too. Just not as good as the Lakers, unfortunately. Wally Zerbiak. Always forget about him. Terrell Brandon, Gill, Strickland, Peeler, and of course, the big ticket, Kevin Garnett. Suns with Marbury instead of Nash, which lets you know what we're about to get to. The Spurs, a younger version, but still in their prime in terms of dynastic team. Duncan, David Robinson near the end, but Twin Towers, Bruce Bowen, great defender, good three-point shooter. Kills me that he's such a good three-point shooter, but could not hit free throws. Young Steven Jackson, Malik Rose, Kerr, and Smith. So they had guys that could shoot. This feels weird seeing Olajuwon there. It's just like when Ewing was with the Sonics. Just weird. I don't want to talk about this team too much. I'm still bitter about that finals. You know the one I'm talking about. They will be a force. Looking at the East, of course. One of the underrated Indiana teams, of course, because of the malice at the palace. This was one of those teams that was pretty good. I'm not sure they would have won a championship, but they definitely could have gave Detroit hell if they would have faced them in that year. Jermaine O'Neal, Artest could score and obviously defend. Al Harrington, Brad Miller. This is not a bad squad. It's not a bad squad at all. And then one of my favorite teams, especially on one of my favorite 2K teams of all time. This team was kind of broken. Rafe LaFrenz at the 5. First of all, Sean Bradley could defend anybody because of his length. Ridiculous, but whatever. Rafe LaFrenz, 3-point. You could play 5 out with these guys. LaFrenz, Nowitzki, Nash, Finley, Van Exel. Ew. Ew. And then you had Roger Bell off the bench too. Ew. Walt Williams, he could hit threes too. This was an annoying team. Popeye Jones. Eduardo, I forgot about him too. Really versatile team. But you had the ISO guys and Finley and Nowitzki. You could take people off the dribble. Van Exel still, at his age, he still had some speed. And then 3-point shooters everywhere. Really fun team. Kings were another one of those teams. In Magic, obviously, the team I played with during that time too. Hill, Mike Miller, especially Mike Miller, man. Really nasty. Pat Garrity as well. Speaking of the Nuggets, Juwan Howard, Marcus Camby, Posey, underrated guy, had a good finish to his career. Not a bad squad either. But we're going to run with these guys and see what we can do. So, looking at the schedule, Sixers and Heat early. We get the Kings out the way early, thank God, because they're going to probably blow the doors off. The Lakers, I didn't get to face them with Shaq healthy last year. So I can only imagine what it's going to be like facing Shaq. The old Jazz get the Celtics twice in December. The first time we'll face Jordan will be December 30th. The Pistons, which I believe got eliminated the Magic this year in the first round. Or it might have been the year prior on Christmas, so we'll get that matchup. Christmas game, cool. Spurs, January 31st. The Cavs, obviously they were a bad team, so they got to draft LeBron. The Sixers again on the 12th. Jordan again on the 16th. We also got the Knicks, the Mavericks. It's going to be a really tough matchup. Get them again in April. Man, the Sixers near the end, then ending the season against Milwaukee. Milwaukee's going to be a tough squad. Toronto should be fun, just a cousin matchup. McGrady against Mr. Carter. So, running this, we're going to do the same thing we're doing with the Lakers. 82 games, playing on the hardest difficulty, and we'll see how things go. There will be videos every Tuesday at noon Mountain Time and Friday. Both one for the Magic and one for the Lakers. So if you prefer one over the other, they'll both be getting released at the same time. You not have to worry about one being on a specific day. We'll do both. So basically Tuesdays and Fridays will end up being 3 videos. Cool. But we'll see how things go at Orlando. We'll keep tabs as we go along. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the other side.